for me at least, would be how it felt to be back on the field after your time away, and to just get everything rolling after you've put so much time into getting it there.
Who am I supposed to look at?
Probably
forward.
Yeah, it felt awesome. I sprang out of bed this morning, didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, not because of nerves, but because of excitement. I've absolutely fallen in love with this team. I think they're full of pleasers. They're guys that want to win. They want to be shown how to win. Now we got a lot of room for improvement, certainly, but for me personally, it was very cathartic to get back out there and watch the guys run around a little bit.
For you, these first couple practices more about how we want to practice, how you want practice to look, tempo, that sort of thing, as opposed to installing a lot of stuff?
Yeah, and the beauty of the installation is we're allowed to do so much more with the players in the winter off season before spring ball leading up than we ever were. And so, a lot of just the first and second down offense and defense is it. We haven't installed any red zone or third down stuff, but when we get out there, these first two practices, and again, the NCAA makes us practice without shoulder pads and all that for the first two practices, and then we got to have a third one. Not quite sure I understand why that is. Shoulder pads are safety equipment. As Mac Brown once said, I don't think the swimmers and divers have to jump into a pool without water their first two practices. But it is absolutely, I told the team before practice, I said, I don't care if one ball is caught, if we pick a ball off, if we make one TFL or whatever, I don't care. We're going to learn how to practice, and we're going to demand effort and ball security, and we'll teach everything else. But those two things are choices that are made every single time a young man takes a rep. He has a choice. Is he going to go and push himself to the limit with his effort? And if he's touching the football, is he going to protect it? And those are choices, and we're going to learn how to do that. It won't stop after the second one. We'll keep doing it, but for the most part, I think the guys responded.
How important are these practices in the spring for newcomers, and whether that be transfers or freshmen who are coming to the program, and what does it help them learn? Even if they're not in pads the entire time.
I think it's huge, and not just the 15 spring practices, but all that winter, meetings and stuff like that we were doing in January and February. So, to have a newcomer be exposed to, our weight room or nutrition program, academic life, as well as then, dive into the nuts and bolts of the offense and defense. I think it's critical for these guys. Not saying that guys that come in the summer, in June, aren't going to be able to help us. They will, but we're going to have to accelerate their learning curve a little bit.
You sort of alluded to the improvements that you do want to see from this team. I know it's only the first practice, but what do you want to see from the team as a whole as you're heading into the spring game next month?
Well, one, we got to go hard. You can overcome so many deficiencies with effort and intensity and love of your teammates, love of your coaches, love of your team. That can overcome a lot of deficiencies. Talent was not the reason this team was 5-7. There's talent in this building, and it's our job as coaches, one, to not just teach them the plays, but teach them how to be a champion. There's a skill involved in that. There's all the extra little things that you have to do to set yourself apart. And talent alone is not going to win. You got to be able to learn how to get in the cold tub after practice. You gotta learn how to get here 30 minutes early so you can get in the weight room and get stretched and foam roller and all that stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it that is quite frankly new for these guys. And that, if we can accomplish that, the X's and O's, I mean, we're not gonna run any secret plays or, you know, or secret blitzes or coverages. I mean, we run inside zone just like everybody in the country, and we run 4 down quarters just like everybody else in the country. It's our job to make sure that we do it better and more physical and with a greater sense of purpose than our opponent. And if we can get to that point by the time the spring game rolls around, that'll be a successful spring for sure.
Tom, with Nkosi leaving at quarterback, having that consistent play from him the last couple of years, where do you see that position right now for you guys?
It's scary. You know, we've got a guy in Tyreek Starks that has got a lot of talent. We need to get it out of him. And he has been very receptive to Coach Fry. You know, Michael Johnson is not going to go through spring practice with him rehabbing his injury, so that's one guy down. And then, you know, really the only guy with any kind of meaningful game experience is Daniel Richardson, and we're sure happy to have him. But you know, it's been a year since he's played really meaningful snaps. So we're getting there. We got a great offensive coordinator. I think that the kids are bought in. You know, Ben Ballard is one that's getting reps as well. So you know, all of these guys, they've got some big shoes to fill, but I think everybody internally knows that we need that position to be very productive and reliable. So it'll be one that we will be watching very, very closely throughout the spring.
How much of this guy rushed for 1,000 yards, or this guy
Don't
caught
care.
X balls?
Don't care.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Does what they did in the past have any bearing, or is everybody starting at square one as far as you're concerned?
Square one. Now you can't jog 114 guys out there when you say, hey, first offense versus first defense, you know. So the guys that ran out there today with the ones were the guys that have earned it through January and February, not the guys that did anything last year. You know, even, you know, in our championship teams, you know, either at Houston or at Texas, we made a point to say, you know, this is this team. We never referred to last year as we. That wasn't we. That was the 2022 FAU Owls. This is the new we. And then next year, it's not going to be we in 23, it's going to be the 23 team, and we'll have a new we then. So, yeah, I haven't, purposefully, I haven't watched any film from last year. I did when I got the first call from Brian White, but after that, I haven't. Now our recruiting staff and coordinators have, because we got to figure out the roster management in terms of recruiting. But yeah, it's literally what have you done? What are you going to do the next play?
You know, one position on offense that is sort of established is the wide receiver room with LeJonte and Jaquan and Jamal as well. You know, you bring in the wide receiver coach with David B. You have a lot of past experience or relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
What does BD add to that room, you know, as a coach, and what do you want to see from that room as we enter, you know, the rest of camp?
It's pronounced Beatty, not that I'm just letting you know. Yeah, I think that's certainly the deepest position group on our team right now, that's for sure. There's a lot of guys there that can help us this season, and having Coach Beatty in that room. This is a guy that Coach Mike Evans, Coach Christian Kirk, he's been a head coach. You know, he's Coach Jared Dillard, you know, when we were together. So this guy, you know, Coach Beatty's is as good as they get when it comes to that position and the fundamentals. And, you know, historically that position has required some management. And to have a veteran like him in that room that understands what it takes to win is helping quite a bit.
Coach, there's a lot of potential coming from the offensive line. There are plenty of new guys coming in that add plenty of youth to the position, but also an amount of inexperience. How important will it be to have the vets at that position, and of course, Coach Warner teach the young guys how to, you know, protect the line?
Yeah, it's hard, you know, when you're out there in shorts and t-shirts. That's not fair to try to evaluate offensive linemen in shorts and t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not football. So, you know, the one thing that has stood out to me is how well we can run for, you know, guys that are 320, 330, and they can get out and go on screens, on you know, different things like that. They are very athletic for big guys. So that has been encouraging throughout the winter off season, and then what I saw out there today. But in terms of any sense of evaluation, I think it's way too premature, because we haven't seen if they'll hit anybody or move anybody around. But then the second part of your question, I feel so blessed to have had Coach Warner already on staff here. Joey Garasio, I learned how to pronounce his name from you, Frank. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Those two guys, having been guys that we kept, are, man, it's the experience, the attention to detail, and then obviously, you know, Coach Warner has done it at the highest of levels. We did it at the highest of levels together, and he's as good as I've ever been around.
Any standouts from the position that you've seen?
Say it again.
Any standouts from the position that you like so far?
At O-line?
Yes.
No. I mean, I know, I do. Marquise Robinson has a great story to tell. I don't know if his personal story has been told. It's probably not my place to say it right now, but I will ask him, and I'd love to tell everybody watching or listening about it. But he got married last year, got his degree in December, and him and his wife just welcomed their first baby, Noah, last week. And so it's pretty cool, you know, when you see these guys grow up like that. And then the other guy is Chaz Neal, you know, just a fun guy to be around. He's really smart, and you know, he has come a long way from what Coach Warner tells me, you know, from 2 years ago when he got here to now. You know, he's got a chance, if he has a good season, to, you know, be a draftable guy.
Can you have your first impressions of what you see maybe from the defense? Obviously, returning guys like TJ Young, Anderson, Gill, must be a huge loss of this defense.
Yeah, again, it's difficult to judge anybody on defense without shoulder pads because of, you know, the physicality element to it at every position. But I do like the back end. I think TJ and Armani, right? Yeah, sorry, Armani. I'm just used to calling 30. So, but those guys provide some welcome leadership back there in the back end, and you know, we've got guys up front that have played a lot of football here as well. The linebacker spot, inside linebacker spot, is the one that we definitely need to keep our eye on. and develop guys quickly at that position because it's thin and a bit inexperienced too.
It's a new school, new surroundings, but as Katrina said, back out in the field the first time in a while as a head coach. Did you find yourself thinking, this is familiar, this feels right, this feels comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a couple people ask, what's it feel like? I don't know, feels like it's always felt, maybe that's because the last 2 years have kind of been a bit of a blur and a lot of changes, but it was business as usual, and, but it's not something I ever want to take for granted though, either, and I am extremely appreciative for the opportunity to be here and to, as my wife said the day of my press conference, she said, "You look alive again." And I feel alive again for sure because getting out there was really fun.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks guys.
By the
So
way,
can